Hi, welcome to Code with Utpal. In today's video, we are going to create Solr shards manually. We can follow this manual if we want to. Here you can see how we actually need Alfresco index that can be distributed over several Solr nodes so that we can use the shards. How to configure this is explained in this document, but we'll do it step by step. In order to do that, I have done this. I ran several nodes of Alfresco Search Services in the same host using different ports. So default port is 8983. I have added four more Alfresco Search Services, three more Alfresco Search Services using different ports. So in order to do that, we need to just set the Solr ports to different port numbers. I can show you what I am trying to do or trying to say here is this. If you are using Linux system, you can use solr.in.sh file. I am using Windows here, so I am using solr.in.cmd file. We have to set this port. What is the port? Is Solr port number is, if I search it, um, so 8983 is the port. Anyway, this is the default port. If I don't set it, this is going to be the port. But since I'm going to use four different instances, I'm going to set this up. So for each instance, I'm giving different port number so that they don't conflict. So I get four instances by setting up the port number, different port numbers. So here I get four instances up and running. So before I proceed, I want to say that if you are already having Alfresco Search Services configured, then this is the path to follow. If you don't have the Alfresco Search Services configured or you want to do that, please follow my previous video. I already discussed how to configure Alfresco Search Services. Here we are going to the next advance or next requirement, which is like I want to distribute my indexes into different shards. Once these instances are up, so I can see here I have one instance running in 8983, another instance in 8984, 8985 and 8986. Now next step is to create different cores. The cores are like indexes. Instead of one single, I want to distribute this. So for that I will be using some APIs, or you can call it commands, like those are browser commands anyway, so I better call it APIs. If you have done something similar, I mean already created with single instance, then you can remove those cores and recreate with the sharded configuration. So shard configuration, we need few parameters, like this is the core creation API. So core action, new cores, then we have to get the store reference, then how many shards we are creating, and then which instance we are configuring. So suppose 1, 2, 3, 4 node instance, how many replication we want to create. So here I am creating 2, number of nodes, how many nodes I have. So I have 4 nodes, 4 shards I'm creating. So if I run this command, or API, if I invoke this API, I should say that. So I get, so node number 1, I get these two cores created, the alfresco 0, alfresco 1, and for the other API, just the code name is archive, so archive 0, archive 1. So I will put these APIs in the description box so that you can make use of it. Once these cores are created, or the search services configurations are almost done. Only thing we have to do is one more small changes we have to make here is we have to configure the whitelist. Shards whitelist we have to create, or we can ignore whitelist check. So I am doing the Solr disable whitelist check. So I used it here in the VM argument. As the VM argument, I'm passing that do not, just disable it so that it will not block interacting between the shards. So this is something you have to configure, otherwise the search service with shard configuration will not work. Once you've done that, the similar thing you have to do in the other nodes. So you can have 4 instances of Alfresco Search Services considering 4 different nodes. Once that is done, now this information should be configured in the content services side also. So here we have to mention how many shards we have, what is the replication factor, and what are the node strings. So node string is like node information. So here we have node number 1, node number 2, and then 3 and 4 respectively. Similarly, we have to configure this for the archives also. So this will be like Solr and then archives. So I will put this information also in the description box. So once this configuration at the Alfresco content services done, we have to restart Alfresco content services, and we have to start or restart Solr side, all instances. Once we are done with these 2 sides of configuration, one is the search services side, another is a content services side. Now after restarting, search should work. So if I go back to my document library, I have created some dummy files. So I want to search one of them. So basically, I want to search this document. So if I search this one, okay, so this is not working. Oh, okay. So one of my search services is down. So in order to use this manual sharding configuration, we have to make sure all the search services instances or all such nodes are working. Otherwise, this search will not work as expected. If I start this, my search should work. So my search is getting all these documents, and if I go a little bit more, if I narrow it down to particular file, maybe this one. Yeah. So this is working fine. So one thing that we have to make sure all nodes are working, otherwise search will not work as expected. So this is one demerit of using manual sharding. We'll discuss dynamic sharding in our next videos, but this anyway improves the search service performance significantly. If you have a huge index built up and then you want to just distribute this, follow the sharding mechanism. At least if you do manual one is, uh, I have to say that manual is not that bad. Only thing is we have to make sure all the services are up and running. Otherwise, this behavior will not be as expected. It might work sometime, um, even if one host is down, but it will not be the optimized, or your result will be different for different person, or different in search invocation also. So better option is to make sure this all the search services up and running when this is manually configured. We have another option is like using replication, using dynamic sharding. So we will work on that later in the later videos. So to summarize, what we have to do, we have to create different cores on. So basically, how many shards we need to decide how many nodes we have. Based on that, we can invoke the APIs to create the cores, and then we have to configure those in the content services side. So basically, this information is important for content services side, and um, here in the here one thing we have to notice that this is important, the whitelisting, and we have to create those cores accordingly. So let me know if this worked for you or not. How you do you want me to work on or make any other videos like explaining it bit more? I can do that. I want to keep it short and um, easy for everyone to understand. I was just made it simpler configuration changes. But if you want to go elaborate way, I can make a bigger, longer video. This is the I try to keep it short. Thanks for watching. Give your comments, like, subscribe to the channel, share share this with your friends, colleagues who want to use it. This might be helpful to them. I want to know how whether it is working for you or not. Let me know. Thank you so much.